Have you ever been put down by the very person who was supposed to stand beside you, no matter what? That's exactly what happened to me one evening at a family dinner. And it wasn't just a passing embarrassment. It was the kind of humiliation that makes your stomach churn, your pulse race, and your chest tighten, because you can't believe the person you love could treat you that way. But here's the twist. What she thought would crush me actually backfired. That night, I reclaimed my dignity in a way that stunned every single person at the table, and she never saw it coming. It started like any ordinary family get-together. My parents had invited everyone over, siblings, their spouses, the whole group. The dining room table was covered in food that smelled like home. My mom's roast was at the center, the kind of meal that always made me feel grounded. Walking in with my wife at my side should have felt like something to be proud of. We'd been married a few years, and sure, we had our disagreements, but I never imagined she'd pick this moment, surrounded by the people who raised me, to tear me down. The first warning came when we sat down. She leaned in close and whispered, "Don't embarrass yourself tonight." She said it like a joke, but the tone made me uneasy. At first, the conversation was light, childhood stories, laughs, clinking glasses. Then my dad asked me about a new project I was working on. Before I could even answer, my wife cut in loudly. "Oh, you mean his little hobby?" She smirked, and the table chuckled politely. My face burned. It wasn't just what she said. It was the way she said it, like I was a kid pretending to be an adult. I tried to shrug it off, to steer the conversation elsewhere, but she wasn't finished. Any time I spoke, she twisted my words. If I mentioned a small achievement, she laughed and said, "Yeah, but you should see how stressed he gets over the simplest things." When I talked about fixing something around the house, she chimed in with, "Actually, I had to call a plumber after his repairs made it worse." Everyone thought she was being playful, but I knew better. It wasn't teasing, it was belittling. I forced a smile, gripping my fork, so hard my knuckles turned white. But the real blow came when my brother brought up a funny story from our childhood. Before I could laugh along, she added, "Honestly, he hasn't changed. He's still that clueless kid. Just ask about the time he forgot to pay our bills for 2 months." She threw her head back, laughing. The table went silent. Every eye turned toward me. That was the moment I felt my dignity stripped away. I excused myself, walked into the kitchen, and gripped the counter, breathing hard. Part of me wanted to explode, to call her out right there, to storm off. But another part, the colder, calmer part, told me that anger would only prove her point. If I was going to take control back, I had to do it with composure. So I returned to the table with a steady smile. I let her keep talking a little longer, still thinking she had the spotlight. Then, as dessert was being served, I set my spoon down and cleared my throat. "You know," I began, looking around the table, "I think I owe my wife some thanks tonight." She blinked, surprised. Gratitude was the last thing she expected. She showed me something important. Every time I try to share a piece of myself, she turns it into a joke. And that doesn't say much about me. It says something about her. The room went quiet. My tone stayed even, firm. I work hard every day, and I'm proud of what I do. I may not be perfect, but I'm building something for us, for our future. If she can't respect that, maybe she doesn't want to. But for anyone here who doubts me, I'll let my actions speak louder than any punchline. I locked eyes with her. This time, she had no comeback. Her smile faded, her face stiff. My family's expression shifted. No more polite chuckles. My mother reached over and squeezed my hand. My father gave me a rare, approving nod. In that instant, the humiliation wasn't mine anymore, it was hers. The rest of the evening was subdued. She barely touched her dessert, and my siblings tried to change the subject, but everyone knew something had shifted. I had regained control, not by yelling, but by standing firm and refusing to let myself be belittled. Later that night at home, she tried to explain herself. I was just joking. "You're too sensitive." But I didn't let her spin it. "No," I said. "A joke is when both people laugh. What you did was disrespect." She had no reply. That night taught me something important. Sometimes strength isn't about raising your voice. It's about keeping your composure. It's about showing that no matter how someone tries to make you small, you won't shrink. And once people realize you won't play the fool, they stop trying to make you one. So if you've ever been humiliated, remember this. It's not the words that matter most. It's how you choose to respond. And often, the quietest answer speaks the loudest.